You see, it's a Pizza Hut and a Taco Bell. It's a combination Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. 2020, eh? 2020. Here is your wrestling news. WWE experience a possible COVID outbreak once again. A wrestling legend is joining NXT, and an AEW star wins a top independent championship and will defend it on Dynamite tonight. Details emerged yesterday of a possible COVID outbreak, once again emanating from WWE, this time from the Performance Center, going back to Friday afternoon. Wrestling Observer and Fightful have filled us in on a few more of the details here. Fightful currently saying that we can't confirm an outbreak and haven't heard back from WWE, but we've learned more of the situation. NXT holds regular in-house live events to track the progression of NXT talent. This is something they've done for quite a while, where they'll get the trainees and the other trainees as fans to whoop and cheer and take notes and such. This is common practice, which is something obviously they've been back up and running doing. They say, we're told that many, if not all of those that were in attendance at the show were asked to quarantine, and this is regardless of whether they tested positive or negative for COVID. Those who weren't there not only were left in the dark about any rumors of an outbreak, many were asked to come and help with the audience noise for NXT's Halloween Havoc show. We're told that NXT was preparing to make changes to Halloween Havoc in the event that they need to. So from what we understand, that there was nobody who is on the card for Halloween Havoc tonight. No main NXT TV stars were at the show on Friday. It was NXT trainees and recruits who were there, among some coaches as well. So from that, we can deem that the actual card itself probably won't be affected, but anything can happen at this point. Obviously, if there were plans to bring in trainees to be crowd noise, that might change now. What with the fact there are also 100 fans in attendance there too. So this is something they've been doing for a couple of weeks, where they've been inviting fans to come and watch NXT from the Capitol Wrestling Center. They've been staying over the night before, taking a COVID test to check that they are okay, and staying in a bubble before coming to the show. So this isn't unusual, but I imagine there is some concern to have people who may have been around others who tested positive for COVID and fans there as well. So we'll see whether that changes the look and the presentation in some way of Halloween Havoc later on tonight. Of course, as I always say, when we know more about this, you will know more at Cultaholic.com. Elsewhere, a wrestling legend is set to join WWE as part of NXT. In particular, NXT UK. This was broken by Tokyo Sports that Meiko Satomura is making the journey to the UK to be a part of the brand there. This came as a bit of a surprise, actually. We've seen Meiko Satomura as part of the Mae Young Classic a couple of years back, certainly well liked and well beloved by the entire wrestling world. She's been wrestling since '95. She's worked for WCW. There was a brief time when WCW were going to get a women's title, and Meiko Satomura was part of the tournament there. She's done so much stuff for Gaia in Japan, and of course, you can't talk about Meiko Satomura without talking about Sendai Girls. She's been a part of that product since 2006, so it's a big loss for her to be leaving Sendai at this point. But she's heading over to the UK, and she's going to be part of NXT UK. It looks as if she's coming in a player-manager type role. So she's going to be coming in to be a part of the women's division there, but also to work as a coach to help bring along some of the other female performers there. Meiko Satomura, obviously, as we say, has a great following around the world, but there's a lot of love for Meiko Satomura in the UK, former Progress Women's Champion. She's worked at many other independent promotions around here as well. So it would be very well received to have someone like Meiko Satomura there. I think the one thing that NXT UK is needing, among many other things right now, it certainly needs some more legends to come in and help guide the product. And I think this is a great get for NXT UK. Someone to come in and help shape not just the women's division, but everybody there. Somebody with an incredible pedigree for wrestling. And I'm really excited to see what she'll do there. I'm excited to see what she'll do as part of NXT UK. She's set to finish up her dates in Japan next month, and she should be in the UK by the end of November. A notable former WWE employee was at Impact Wrestling last night. You may be forgiven for not recognizing the lawyer that Deonna Purrazzo used to negotiate a Knockouts Championship rematch. That's R.D. Evans, a former writer for WWE. R.D. Evans famously walked out of WWE last year during the Hall of Fame ceremony. He wrote the script for Bret Hart, and when he went to get it signed off from Vince McMahon, Vince was fuming because in the script, Bret thanks Vince McMahon. And the one thing that you don't do during a Hall of Fame speech is thank Vince McMahon. This led to Vince going off on one, and R.D. Evans basically going, forget this, I'm away. And he was gone. And he appeared last night in Impact Wrestling. And he wasn't just there to be on screen, because if you watched Impact Wrestling last night, you'll know that we suddenly have ourselves a cliffhanger in the form of who shot Johnny Bravo? That wedding at the end and all that went down there. That was written by R.D. Evans, somebody who may be a bit of an Impact Wrestling mainstay going forward. Chris Van Vliet was talking to former AEW star Sadie Gibbs. Great conversation that those guys had. You can watch that on his YouTube channel right now. And she talks about what happened with her and AEW and the manner in which she found out she was no longer being required. She said, quote, I was going to move to Atlanta, which is where the Nightmare Factory is with AEW. I'd be training there and just being around more to be implemented into things. I just wanted to give 100% and dedicate to the promotion. Obviously, things changed, but that was the plan. Before that, I was being flown in for the shows. During that time, I had 2 main matches, which is a little bit disappointing because I was having matches every week in Japan. Then when I signed, I had 2 matches with them. I didn't get to showcase my skills. Come August, they let 3 of us go from the UK. They kept a couple from the UK, I noticed. Anthony Ogogo is still with them. It's all a bit bittersweet. It's a hard one to swallow, but I guess they had to cut their costs, and the situation is what it is. I probably won't fly over there until March 2021 at the earliest. She also tells us about the moment where she found out that she was being let go. She says, it was really nicely done. They said it wasn't about talent or anything like that. They just wouldn't have signed me if they thought what was going to happen was going to happen. And they certainly wouldn't have signed me if they thought it was anything to do with talent. It was purely based on the uncertainty of being able to get to the States. They said, reach out when the world is settled and normal. I reckon we will see Sadie Gibbs as part of AEW once again. Lots of things happening in the AEW's women's division. They've had a lot of beef from fans for the presentation of the women's division within AEW. Some interesting developments in that over the last 24 hours as we have a brand new NWA Women's World Champion in the form of Serena Deeb. It was last night on the United Wrestling Network that Serena Deeb beat Thunder Rosa to become the NWA Women's World Champion. Great acknowledgement for Serena Deeb, who was let go from WWE earlier on this year, and it's nice to see her doing something once again and getting some passion back for it as well. Tonight, she will put that title on the line against Layla Hirsch on AEW Dynamite. So the NWA Women's World Champion back on Dynamite once again. And it's just another reason, as well as another reason to have a little bit of faith in maybe what AEW are doing with the women's division. There's certainly some fixing to be done. There's also another reason to watch the United Wrestling Network. I feel like I talk about this every week. This is the UWN. It's a hybrid of the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood and NWA. And I think in the last 3 weeks, maybe a bit more, but certainly in a quick succession, we've had some major NWA title changes. We had Trevor Murdoch become the national champion. We had the Pope Elijah Burke, formerly known as Elijah Burke, becoming the NWA television champion. And then, of course, last night, Serena Deeb becoming the women's world champion. You should watch UWN. It's great fun. It's good times. Stay safe. Love you, bye.